Hello from the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium here in Antigua, right in the heart of the Caribbean, just away north of Barbados and St Lucia for the Super 8 game between the West Indies and New Zealand. Hello, a warm welcome to the highlights of this important contest. Let's immediately have a look at the points table in the Super 8s. Australia dominated, there's no surprise about that, though their run rate isn't quite as good as the Sri Lankans, who lost that thriller yesterday. I only mention that because run rate is going to play a big part in this tournament when it gets tight at the end of the Super 8 stage. Absolutely crucial for the West Indians that they get it right today. They didn't quite get it right against the Australians the other day. That pitch was very good. This one was just a little blacker. There'd been some moisture. They had a Hessian covering. There was some sweating underneath it. And I think the feeling was it was tacky and might therefore offer something to the seam bowlers early on. When the coin went up in the air, it was Stephen Fleming, the New Zealand captain, who got it right, and he was indeed happy to bowl first in these conditions. Confirmation of the sides. New Zealand, of course, do have some injury problems. It means that Peter Fulton comes in at the top of the order instead of Lou Vincent. Hamish Marshall gets a game. Ross Taylor's still out. That's a very, very strong seam bowling attack. Shane Bond and Michael Mason are in good form. The West Indies have one surprising change. Lendl Simmons, the young batsman and related, of course, to Phil Simmons, is in that team, and Jerome Taylor is out of it. We'll get straight into the commentary box now and hear first up from Damien Fleming and Michael Holt.
So a single off the first ball for Chris Gale. Always good to get the nerves out of the way. And what about yourself, Michael? You did the pitch report down there. You surprised by Fleming's decision to bowl first?
No, not at all. I expect that the ball will do a little bit this morning. It just seemed that there was a bit more moisture in this pitch than the one that Australia played the West Indies on. And I expect that the ball will grip. If it lands on the seam, the cord in that seam just may grip a bit and just may get a bit of lateral movement. Nothing to encourage the bowlers as we saw on that pitch really, though. It should dry out reasonably quickly.
Gale advances and he hits well over mid-off all the way for 4.
Well, this just may make Shane Bond think a little bit more about what he's doing instead of just running up and bowling the same line and length all day. Even if he had mistimed it, he had a good chance of clearing the man at mid-off because he didn't play across the line of the ball. He was hitting down the ground, which is what he should be doing. Hit down the ground at all times.
Whoa. There's a misfield from McCullum. So there's a bye there. Maybe a change of pace there from Shane Bond. Fooled everyone.
Chris Gale was getting on the back foot, getting ready to punch it through the offside. Slow delivery from Shane Bond. Just no pace, no bounce. You don't see fast bowlers bowling that sort of delivery very often. Slow deliveries, yes, but not in that manner. That was almost like a pitcher, a baseball pitcher, doing a knuckleball. Have a look at this.
They're pushing down the back of the ball. Geez, if you can get those grubbers to go straight, be the best slow ball in the history of the game.
Using fingers there on that particular delivery that fast bowlers don't usually employ at all. Fast bowlers usually use the thumb under the ball, index finger and the next finger beside it, basically those 3 fingers.
It's a nick and it's caught. Good reward for some superb fast bowling by Bond. Good catch by Storis. So Chanderpaul's innings is over. He's back to the dressing rooms.
Well, this has been good bowling by Shane Bond. Very upright seam, just kept that line going. Chanderpaul pushing a bit far away from his body. And that's the frustration of not getting bat and ball very often, not getting runs on the board. Well, we thought one would blink first. We didn't know who. It's the batsman who has blinked first. It's 14 for 1.
just fingertips perhaps. But it went pretty hard. Well, not pretty hard, very hard. Fulton it is, diving to his right, the biggest man in the New Zealand team, and it took his height to get the fingertips to it.
2 meter Peter, they call him. He needed to be 3.
Just short, hammered away, and you would expect that from Chris Gayle. Not a good delivery. Mark Nicholas has got accustomed to doing the ball-by-ball descriptions, and he called it, and I interrupted him. Your turn, Mark.
Don't bowl short at Gayle unless you can get it up throat high.
Hit hard. Whoa, that was hit hard. It's a white ball against the green background, but he hardly saw it on the way to the ropes. Flash past the backward point. Another boundary for Gayle.
Gayle feasting on something a little tastier than Shane Bond. Bond out of the attack. Lovely little spell from him, and Franklin's lesser pace but also shorter length and lack of swing.
Magnificent. What a glorious extra cover drive. Perfection.
And not to a half volley either. The ball just back of a full half volley length. And Sarwan much more committed to the stroke than we saw him the other day against the Australians. That's delightful. Wonderful balance. Terrific hands working the ball into the space.
Over the top. Typical Chris Gayle shot. Won't quite go all the way. So another boundary for Gayle.
Straight is the way to go for Gayle. He has the strength, he has the talent. That's as good as it gets.
And that's not too bad either.
Geez, did you see Scott Styrish at that extra cover? I mean, there's an example of just how perfectly Gayle placed the ball, threaded it through the infield. There are 5 men now going into the ring, and Styrish simply put his hands on his knees. I'm given no chance by the power of that stroke. And the beauty of it, Gayle is the most lovely free batsman. You always feel you're watching something special. I shouldn't think anybody's going to make a cup of tea right now.
3 in a row. Well, I suppose if they were making a cup of tea and they're New Zealanders, they'll be spluttering into it, because Gayle is looking very ominous here.
In a way, that's the best of the 3. He plays it a touch later, allows the ball to come to him, and hits it when it's alongside him, just opening the blade a fraction.
Fantastic hit. He's looking to take the game away from the opposition. Took a long time to play himself in, Chris Gayle. The last couple of overs, he's been severe against Franklin. Good morning, Ian.
Morning, Siva, and this is a problem now for the New Zealanders. The West Indies plan is coming together. They knew that Shane Bond would be a threat. They knew they had to weather the storm. They lost Chanderpaul in the process, but the West Indies now have got the second part of plan A in motion, and that is to attack James Franklin.
Another good one. Doesn't get better. Probably the best shot in this game. This time from the bat of Ramnaresh Sarwan. Brings up the 50 partnership.
Well, there's some brilliant batting here by the West Indies, and they're seizing back control of this match. They lost the toss, they were asked to bat, and now they've done it quite nicely. And we've seen 3 or 4 tremendous shots, and that was perhaps the shot of the morning along the ground. The best place in the world to hit a bowler is straight back past them.
Inside edge taken, magnificent take. What a catch! Just when they needed a breakthrough, it's Jacob Oram again. And McCullum, a stunner.
That is a brilliant catch. Absolutely brilliant, because he's looking for the outside edge here, Brendan McCullum, and it's a thick inside edge and a big edge, and it goes a long way. And this is a breakthrough New Zealand, badly needed. Ball just straightening a little bit, big inside edge, and one-handed Brendan McCullum, acrobatic as you like. That's one of the best so far in the World Cup from a wicket-keeping point of view. One to treasure, especially as it's Sarwan. West Indian number 3 makes his lonely way back. And the West Indies all of a sudden are 66 for 2, and it's drinks here in Antigua.
It's time for the Super 8's action in the Caribbean islands. As 8 teams play for all or nothing. 8 teams clash for a moment of glory. And 8 teams fight it out for cricket's most coveted title, the ICC Cricket World Cup 2007. Catch West Indies versus Australia at these times.
It's gone through. It's a good strike again from Samuels. He'll feel good about that. 19 overs gone, 74 for 2.
Well, that's Samuels at his best, it really is. Princely drives through the covers.
Got Ben appeal. Rudy cuts in. Slow death. And what a wicket again. The key to New Zealand's success in the recent past has been picking up wickets at regular intervals. They're doing it again here today.
Bounce here. Extra bounce has confused Marlon Samuels and got him cramped for room. It has climbed quite high. He's a tall man, and look how much it bounced, and it may just have flicked the glove. There was a noise there. The New Zealanders were absolutely adamant. Samuels didn't want to go, but when you look back at Rudy Kurtzen, the pain is a long time coming. And in the end, he had to. He's gone for 9, 78 for 3.
Bounce, played on. Huge for Jacob Oram, huge for New Zealand. Not good at all for the men of the Caribbean.
Well, there is pressure on Brian Lara now. Chris Gale, the big hitting left-hand opening batsman, who's just starting to flourish here, finds himself on the way. Was it the extra bounce again from Oram, playing away from his body? And Oram is taking the game away from the West Indies. 15 for 3 he's got at the moment. Gale on his way for 44. West Indies in trouble, 81 for 4.
That's tight, very tight. A direct hit would have been a no chance for Dwayne Bravo. Lara wanted it. It's Lara's call, and Bravo seemed slow to respond.
Certainly did. Knew he'd hit it to Oram's right hand, and in trouble with the direct hit. Vittoria too far away from the stumps to execute that smoothly and quickly. Good shot of it there.
Brian Lara would have gone that time. That was one too far, one too many, one risk that he didn't need to take, and all Brendan McCullum had to do was hit.
Good pace from McCullum. He read, he knew what Lara was doing. Quick throw. Just the execution. Lara out by yards. There's a single since Scales dismissal. There's plenty of them. One opportunity to run Lara out by McCullum missed, but generally they've been well communicated, well called and pretty safe.
13 singles, a 2 and a 3 since Gale went. And there's another single. Means that Bravo will retain the strike. It's 100 for 4 now.
Brilliant, and this will be the first boundary from Lara. He got the little bit of width he needed to pace off the ball. Precision.
Just enough pace. That's what beat Jacob Oram. Pace off the bat. Placement was good, but if he had placed it in that very same spot without the extra pace from Daniel Vettori, Oram would have had enough chance, enough time to get across to cut it off.
Well, Lara's going to get away with this. Jacob Oram's got a long reach, but that's of no value to him here. And Styrus is frustrated. He thought he had Lara. New Zealand just very nervous here because they know what Lara is capable of.
Yes, that's a big wicket for New Zealand now. They'll be thinking they cannot afford for Lara to be batting right through until the 50 overs have been completed. Even if he's there with the tail, it will make such a big difference to the total that the West Indies will get. They need to get rid of him, New Zealand.
1 for 13 off 5 overs. His initial blast was a beauty. Used all the elements almost to perfection. And he started again in great fashion. He's picked up Bravo with his very first delivery.
He was swinging the ball away from the left-hander in his first spell. This is first delivery. How about look at this? Look at the direction in which this ball goes. Normally you expect it to come into the right-hander. It hasn't, just held its own on that off-stump line. And the outside edge found. That's what Fleming was looking for. That's why he brought back Bond. And Bond has delivered again. 128 for 5 as the drinks cart comes out onto the ground.
Well, what a shot. It's only the third ball he's faced from Shane Bond, but he has crunched that away Ramden. Just carrying on from yesterday. One of the shots of the day.
That wasn't that short, believe me. It wasn't that slow either. Just about 86 miles an hour.
Or are prepared, in fact, but there are a couple more which can be used. It's quite a big square. West Indies 150 on the board, but they've lost 5 wickets. They're into the 37th over. Need something quite special now.
Last footy, having 56 balls. Big appeal again. Up goes the finger. Brian Lara walks. What a time to lose this man. Every time we've seen a partnership build, they've lost wickets. It's not a good thing for the West Indies.
And McCullum doesn't miss anything here. He took a magnificent catch there to get rid of Sawan. Standing up to the wicket here, not always easy, but he makes it look very simple indeed. Safely taken. Hurls the ball into the air. New Zealand might feel here that this is just about the match. You never can tell, but with Lara gone for